Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tea with Sophie. This is episode 4, and I am drinking a black tea tonight. It's like an English breakfast tea, but it's a sort of cross between an English breakfast and an oolong tea, and I absolutely love it. Felt like I needed a little pick me up this afternoon, what we call in England a little bit of a cup of tea. So this is a cuppa, a good old British cuppa. So welcome if you're joining me. You know, I love these tea gatherings. It's a very cherished part of my week because I sit and have a little cup of tea with myself anyway at this time of the day. So it's really great to be able to share it with all of you. So thank you for showing up, participating. And in this episode today, I'm going to be sharing with you something that completely changed the way that I eat. And this is important because certainly, as many of you know who have worked with me, I have a very specific approach to nutrition as a board certified nutritionist, and I help women, you know, in really midlife and beyond, perimenopause and onwards, to age-proof their body, to disease-proof their body, to get into the best shape possible. And it is through a very specific nutritional approach. And so I'm going to be sharing a little bit about what that is and why I have landed on this particular nutritional approach for women, particularly women who are in menopause or post-menopause, because that is a time when it becomes so much more important. Our nutrition is a very, very powerful tool. It is not the only tool. As you know, those of you who follow me, we need all the different tools in our tool belt, all the different lifestyle tools, and we really can't do one without the other. But in this episode, I am going to be focusing on nutrition. And I'm going to be talking about the magic 3. So in a moment, in just a few minutes, you are going to hear me talking about the magic 3 nutrients that you absolutely must include in your diet. It would be very foolhardy not to. And I will be explaining why. So while we're here, let's just see. I'm going to have a look and see in the chat. Just let me know in the chat where you are from, where you're watching from, who you are. I love to know who's on, so don't be shy. You can absolutely pop that in the chat. So I do record these live, but many of you will be watching it, obviously, afterwards on YouTube. And then in the description box to YouTube, I can put all sorts of show notes and other kinds of information. All right, so let's talk about why this can be so incredibly. Hi, Nancy. It's lovely to see you, Erin. It's lovely to see you, Jamie. It's lovely to see you, Laurie. Lovely to see you, ladies. And of course, some of you ladies are my clients. You're my lovely clients. And so certainly Erin, we've got Nancy, we've got Jamie, actual clients of mine. So they have lived this and are living this way of eating. They are living proof. These women who are listening right now, who are hopefully enjoying a cup of tea as well, they're living proof because these women have seen their bodies change. They've seen their health markers change. They have seen radical, radical change. Oh, and Lisa. Wow, look at that. All my lovely clients on. It's so lovely to see you all. All right. So I am going to get into this now. So, you know, I think the confusion is that there's so much dietary confusion now, isn't there, out there? One expert says you need to eat a ton of protein. I mean, like, you know, 150 to 200 grams of protein. And then others say you need to eat less. And another says low carb, and another says keto, and another says intermittent fasting or not. And so it becomes very, very confusing for the average Jane out there to really understand, well, what do I need to do? And so having clarity and having simplicity is so incredibly important, because if you have clarity and simplicity, then you have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, a really solid plan that you can trust for the rest of your life, and not a diet, I'm talking about a dietary pattern, you are not, it's not going to bode well. You need to have a plan. As I always say, super ages and men and women, but certainly I focus obviously on women who age very, very well into their 80s, 90s, and even past 100. It's not by chance. They have a plan. They're very disciplined. They have a pattern of eating. We look at the blue zones, and they're not so much blue zones anymore, but certainly they used to be. And this was a dietary pattern. It wasn't a diet. And this is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do, what it is in our session today. So here's the one question that simplified absolutely everything for me many, many years ago. I'm going to say probably about 15 years ago. It was a big sort of boom, like wake up call for me. And this was after, years and years of studying nutrition. So I realized that most of the questions that we ask about food are the wrong questions. We tend to ask things like, is this low carb? Is it gluten-free? Is it high protein? Is it too many calories? So we tend to ask those questions. You can probably already identify with that. But the question that changed everything for me, drum roll, are you ready? Was, does this food, you're looking at the food, you're picking up the food, what you're considering the food, does this food help disease-proof my body? Yes or no? I'm going to repeat that one more time. Does this food help to disease-proof my body? Yes or no? That is the filter that I use now. Does this food support my long-term health, or does it work against it? And then we could do some sort of little sub questions underneath that, or frame it slightly differently. Is this food going to heal my body, or is it going to harm my body? Is this food going to love my body, or is it going to not love my body? It's going to hate my body, make me hate my body, actually, more to the point. And is this food going to, I always look at food also as having a certain frequency, energetically, is this food something that has a life force that is going to add to my life force, or is it going to dampen my life force? And honestly, when you put any food through these filters that I've just gone over, but the main question is does this food help to does this food help to disease-proof my body? It becomes very simple. I promise you, ladies, it's a very, very simple, powerful filter to look at your food, because we're so used to picking up food at the store and still going, well, how many calories does it have in it? Not a good question to ask. Really not a good question. I mean, you ladies who are on with me tonight, who are my clients, some of the other metrics we look for. I've taught you how to read labels, right? And we don't read labels for calories. I've taught you to read labels for other things. We're not going to go into that now, because I want to stick with this very powerful sort of overriding question. So I'm curious, when you look at food right now, what question do you ask yourself? And this is really something I would ask. I think you ladies who are my current clients, you know this already. But for those of you who are not, what question do you ask yourself when you go to the grocery store or you're in a restaurant? What question do you ask? Okay, so really let that land for a moment. Is it something like, is this healthy? Is this going to make me gain weight? How many calories are in this? I think the latest one that we're hearing ad nauseum now is, how much protein does it have in it? We've got this absolute national obsession with protein. While protein is important, getting adequate and sometimes optimal, depending on your age, your lifestyle, and your healthy ideal weight, I don't think we have to be obsessed with it. We don't have to be obsessed with taking protein shots and protein bars and all of these constant kind of obsession. Not necessarily the best question. Okay, so why this matters after 50? So one reason this question becomes so powerful in midlife is because our bodies are changing. Okay, after menopause, several things shift. And this is just fact. And it's for almost everybody. Estrogen declines, inflammation tends to increase, blood sugar regulation becomes more sensitive, and your microbiome significantly changes. And as a gut health specialist, so I hold additional certification apart from being a nutritionist in gut health nutrition. It absolutely sort of, although I had quite a good grounding in gut health nutrition, it really blew me away to understand the effect that declining estrogen and menopause has on our gut microbes. And suffice to say that we get less of them. There is less diversity. So when you think of diversity, think of almost like a very healthy garden or yard or rainforest is healthy. The planet is healthy. Everything is healthy based on diversity. Culture is healthy based on diversity. Everything needs diversity. And sadly, when we go into menopause, we get our microbiome, we have less diverse microbes. And even worse, a lot of the really beneficial microbes kind of disappear, poof, gone. So we really have to work very hard to make sure that we are maintaining optimal gut health. Or in some cases, some women that I work with, they have really poor gut health when they first start working with me, and we've really got to work quite hard to turn that around. So the goal isn't restriction. And as you ladies know, who are my clients, Coach Audra always said, she came up with this and I just loved it. This is Coach Audra, who's coached so many women through my program. It's not about deprivation. It is about a demonstration of love for yourself, the way that you eat. So, but I would say the goal is in terms of the context of this session today is protection. So we want to ask, what foods actually help to protect my brain, my metabolism, my breasts, my heart, and my microbiome? I'm going to say that one more time. What foods actually help to protect my brain? Number one, my metabolism. What foods actually help to maintain it? I don't necessarily love the word boost, but you actually can increase your metabolic burn, as it were, after 50 if you eat the right foods. What foods protect my heart, my breasts, my gut microbiome? So here are the magic three. Here's what is fascinating. When you start asking whether a food disease-proofs your body, something becomes very, very clear. The foods that support long-term health almost always contain three things, okay? And I call these the magic three. So the first is fiber, okay? So fiber is very important after 50. Now, when I say fiber, I don't mean taking a fiber supplement like Metamucil or whatever the fiber supplements are, right? I am talking about diverse fibers that really only can be found in a whole food plant-based dietary pattern. So what does fiber do? It helps stabilize blood sugar. It supports gut health. It removes excess estrogen, very important over 50, because that's part of a breast health plan, or breast cancer prevention plan, I should say, and helps to improve cholesterol levels. The thing that I love most about fiber and all the different fibers that you eat is fibers, these different fibers that we eat, feeds the good microbes in your gut. And these good microbes in your gut, you want them to proliferate. As I've already said, they're going to diminish after menopause. So we need to say to the good guys, hey, don't worry, we're going to feed you really, really well. And by the way, if we feed you so well, so we get more of you and proliferate, you're like trying to get more of them in the house, then could you invite your friends back in and your cousins and all your relatives, get them all to come back in again, right? So how do we do that? We have to be kind to them and loving to them and feed them what they want, which is a diversity of all these plant-based fibers. Now, what they will do is they digest these fibers, they release metabolites called short-chain fatty acids. And short-chain fatty acids do so many things. They help heal your gut lining. A lot of women have leaky gut after 50. They come to me with many, many gut issues. It helps heal the gut lining. And then within that, in your gut, is your serotonin, your happy hormones. Your serotonin is made in your gut, 80 to 90%. Your immune system is in your gut. Your gut-brain axis. So there's bidirectional feedback between your gut and your brain. Can you see how important that fiber is? And foods that are devoid of fiber, which would be your ultra-processed foods, would be meat and dairy and other foods that don't have fiber in them. They're not going to be giving you what you want, which is basically America's most forgotten and most important nutrient. So fiber only exists in plant foods: beans, lentils, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, fruit. Okay, beautiful, beautiful foods that we can all eat. And interestingly, I often mention this in my videos, is that the foods that are most correlated, associated with long-term health, longevity, long life, 3 foods actually would be dark leafy greens. No, 4 foods, excuse me, 4. Dark leafy greens, whole intact grains, beans and legumes, and fruit. I'm doing beans and legumes as one. Write those down. Write them down. If you're new to my work and what I'm doing, write those down. They're most associated with longevity. Drives me crazy because you see all these kind of, particularly on the Bro podcasts, all these biohacking things for longevity and conferences with all these crazy things that people do. But ultimately, ladies, we keep it really simple. We can find this in our local grocery store. All right. So that's number 1 of the magic 3. Number 2 of the magic 3 is antioxidants, right? They help protect our cells, you know this, from oxidative stress, one of the drivers of aging and chronic disease. And you need antioxidants, not just in a supplement, not just 2 or 3 times a day, once a day, excuse me. You're like, oh, I'm having a little bowl of blueberries, or I'm having a little antioxidant something or other. You need to be trying to flood your body with antioxidants throughout the day because they have a short shelf life in your body. Write that down. Antioxidants have a short shelf life in your body. So you need to be constantly replenishing. You're going to find them in berries, every kind of berry, dark leafy greens, every kind of colorful vegetable, herbs and spices, etc. And the third is phytonutrients or phytochemicals. This is number 3. It's sort of similar to antioxidants because antioxidants could come underneath that umbrella. But phytonutrients and phytochemicals, and they're very specific ones for longevity and for really protecting our health after menopause. But these are protective plant compounds that help regulate inflammation and support, and this is really important, I'm going to say it twice, help support detox pathways. Okay, help support detox pathways. Another thing that we need to support after the age of 50. So if you remember nothing else from today's conversation, remember this: the foods that best protect your body almost always contain these 3 things: fiber, antioxidants, and phytonutrients. All right, so now let me ask you something else. When you think about your meals during a typical day, how many of them include foods that contain these 3 things? Now, I know my clients that are on the call, every single meal and beverage that you consume contains all of these things, which is why you ladies are so healthy and you've taken control of your health destiny for the rest of your life. But I know some people are confused and not everybody is there right now. And there is no shame, blame, or judgment. So that's a question that I want to ask you. How many of your meals include all 3 of these? All right. Now, when you begin with fiber, right, you naturally begin eating more foods like plant-based foods, basically vegetables, beans, whole grains, berries, nuts, seeds, delicious foods. And interestingly, the foods that don't contain the magic three tend to be ultra-processed foods, refined sugars, and most animal products, because they contain very little, if none at all, fiber or phytonutrients. All right, now the metabolism connection. Okay, so it's very, very important that your metabolism is firing on all cylinders after the age of 50. So many women say, oh, Sophie, my metabolism has slowed down or it's broken and all of that. But I'll tell you that another benefit of these foods is that they are going to help boost metabolism. And there's another benefit, which I'll talk to you about very quickly in a moment. But how it boosts metabolism is particularly the phytonutrients and the phytochemicals. And there are very specific ones, which I haven't got time to go into in this session today. But they actually, it's fascinating when you learn that there are, in nature, it's incredible, isn't it, what our plants provide. There are these phytochemicals that can actually help to, it's called biogenesis. It can help to create more mitochondria. So mitochondria are the little power packs in your cells. In every cell of your being, you have these, you remember chemistry from school, you have these little organelles and they're called mitochondria, and think of them as being the little power packs. And this really is the root of your metabolism. And as we get older, they not only diminish, but they become sort of dysfunctional. And they sort of fall into a state of disrepair, as it were. So they either go or they are dysfunctional. And so these foods that can only be found in plants, these phytochemicals, can actually help to repair these damaged mitochondria and actually grow new ones. So when you combine that with other lifestyle changes, such as resistance training, you can significantly boost your metabolism. The other benefit is that all of these foods, when eaten in the right way, you're eating enough of them, it's done in a balanced way. Very often it has to be customized and personalized for you. But when you do, it can also help regulate your appetite, because there is a natural release of GLP-1 when you eat these foods. And of course, when you're eating these foods, because you're eating so much fiber, all these foods have fiber in them, it fills you up and you are going to be more full. It triggers the little stretch receptors in your stomach and the iliac brake further down in your digestive system, which basically sends a message to your brain going, look, we're full. We're full here right now. So what we're talking about is that foods that have they're calorically dilute. And the beauty is that they're calorically dilute. They don't contain so many calories, but they contain a significant amount of nutrients. So we always want to look at nutrient to calorie ratio. And if you're eating these magic three, you're going to be absolutely on target with nutrient to calorie ratio. All right. So another question for you. What is one plant food that you genuinely love eating? That you genuinely love eating? Let me know in the chat. And I know, again, you ladies who are watching, who are not new to me, you've worked with me, you're my clients, you could probably list about 30 that you love eating. Blueberries for the win. Yes, all kinds of berries. Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, there are so many, aren't there? I think we really kind of overcomplicate it, but when we really get into it, you know, when I start listing all the foods that contain the fiber and the antioxidants and all of this, my mouth is salivating. It's whether it's juicy, you know, mango, papaya, strawberries, blueberries. I love fruit. Everybody can eat fruit, even if you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. All right, so here's something simple that you could try tomorrow. Those of you who are new to me and perhaps are leaning into this, is just look at one of your meals and say, where could I add one food? Where could I add one food, right, that contains the magic three: fiber, antioxidants, and phytonutrients. Maybe it's berries, maybe it's dark leafy greens, maybe it's beans and lentils, maybe it's intact grains. Grains are so, so important. All of this grain-free business is going to, well, again, another food that is absolutely associated in the epidemiological research that we have to date, whole intact grains for longevity and for weight release, sustainable weight release, fat release over time. And here's the final thing that I want to end with today is, the secondary benefit of all this that we've talked about today, the secondary benefit is that if you put everything that you eat through the question that I gave you at the beginning, the filter, is this food going to help to disease-proof my body? Is this food going to help to disease-proof my body, or beverage, because there are beverages in there? Yes or no? And for me and my clients, if it's no, we're going to minimize it or eliminate it. If it's yes, we are going to include it. We are going to favor it. We are going to eat as much of it as we can. And here's the secondary benefit is that you will release the fat off your body too. As a secondary benefit, your waistline will shrink and you will see it on the scale as well. Why? Because these three foods contain compounds that are fat storage prohibitive, is really hard to store fat from these particular foods. And over the age of 50, it's the fat that we want to get rid of, ladies, not the weight. We don't want light bones, brittle bones, and with no strength on our body. We want tons and tons of lean muscle mass. And that might equate to a few more pounds on the scale, but that's irrelevant because that lean muscle mass is building this, powering this, your metabolism, is powering your health. Okay. And it's the fat that we don't want. So that's the way to go, ladies. And that's the thing that works for absolutely everybody. It's a dietary pattern and it is not a diet. So, ladies, those of you who came, who are my clients, I love you so much, and I'll see you on the other side. And for those of you who are new, if you want a simple place to start with this, I created a 48-hour midlife reset that helps women begin some very, very simple steps with their metabolism and energy in a very gentle way. If you'd like that, you can comment reset. So most of you will be watching this on YouTube afterwards, so you can just comment YouTube. I'll also pop it in the YouTube description, which is basically the show notes for these episodes right now. And if you feel ready for more personalized support, like so many of these beautiful ladies on the session today, you're welcome to book a complimentary breakthrough call with me and my team. And I will put the link to that also in the description to the video. So before we finish our tea together today, I would like to know, what is one small change that you feel inspired to try this week? One small change that you feel inspired to try this week. Tell me in the comments. If you're watching the recording, I love reading them. I read every single one of them, right? And that's it. Thank you for spending time with me this afternoon. I'm going to have another little sip or slug of my cuppa with my little mug with Pomeranians all over it. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.